book friends, this is Kat and welcome back to my channel. This vlog I am starting today is my reading around the world vlog, and so I'm featuring two countries in this vlog. So the first country that I will be exploring would be the Czech Republic. And so I have a few fun facts for that country. The country is known for its castles, and that they're also known for beer. The word robot was coined by a writer. His name is Karl Capek, and he wrote a play in 1920 called the RUR, which stands for Rossum's Universal Robot, or Robots. So that was interesting to know that he coined that word. So there is a wall in Prague. This wall is dedicated to John Lennon and has become a symbol of freedom of speech. So people would decorate it with different artsy stuff, graffiti stuff. And then one more fun fact I wrote down was mushroom hunting is a popular pastime. People would just go into the forest and forage for mushrooms. So for this first book that I will be reading, I'm actually going to read the Prague Sonata by Bradford Morrow. It is a 500-page book. That's a big book, but I'm going to do this one on audio because my library has that on audio. And so it's about an 18-hour, 45-minute audiobook, which I usually listen to my audios at 1.5 speed. Sometimes I'll do it at 2 speed. So this book talks about there was an original sonata manuscript that happened to pass from a Czech immigrant into the hands of this young musicologist whose name is Meta Taverners. And she had this piano career, but it was cut short because of an injury. And so she has these original manuscripts that she is going to go and find out who this composer is, because we don't know who the composer is. And there's supposed to be secrets. There's supposed to be other like sections of this manuscript that she's going to try to find. And apparently other people are after this same manuscripts. So that's what I got from the synopsis. And I actually have a degree in music, and this kind of is appealing to that side. So that is going to be the book that I'm going to be reading for this week. Hopefully I can get it done in about 2 days. That is the goal. And then I do have a recipe that I want to try. Right now my husband is finishing up his last week of summer school, and so I'll have like my mornings to myself. So I actually started gardening. Now I'm not that far into it yet, but I have my little sprouts coming in and I'm super excited. I will catch you guys when I have something to say about this book.
I didn't have any signs, but these are my zinnias, which they're like growing, and I'm so excited about it. And then I have this section, my cucumber lemon, and it's coming in. I'm so excited. There's another one. And then over here, it's my pumpkin, and they're not coming in yet, but these are like, this is how, what's it called? This is where you start it, and when they get bigger, I'm gonna transplant them in the back.
Okay, so I'm back, and it doesn't look like I moved from this spot, but I've been doing laundry and you kind of hear it now that it's happening. I did get to show you my sprouts. I am growing zinnias, which are some flowers, and then I have another one which is like a cucumber plant, but they are circular. They look like yellow balls, and they're supposed to be like the lemon cucumbers, which I've never had before nor seen. So apparently though that they're really sweet, so those are starting to come up. And then I am planting pumpkins, but I'm excited for this new venture. I think my husband is too, because he's already thinking about where we would plant the produce, and he's thinking like logistically how that all is going to work and everything. So anyways, they do stay indoors, but I do put them outdoors during the day to get some sunlight, just because there's not really a good place in the house to have that sunlight hit them. So they do come back indoors after a while, and I just need to find a place and put planters out in the backyard for them. So anyways, long explanation about my gardening project. But I do want to talk to you a little bit about the book. Okay, there's a lot of noise. I am so sorry. My neighbor is cutting his big tree that's like hanging over in the alley and everything. So they have like trucks and stuff. So anyways, I'm sorry that this is probably loud. But where was I? Okay, so the audiobook. So the narrator is, I think she's doing a very good job. I do like how she narrates. She does some accents too for certain characters. I was intrigued with the story, how it starts off. You start off with, I don't remember the lady's name. I think it's Ophelia in English, but she is, you know, you start off with her being a little girl obtaining this manuscript, and we're in the midst of World War I. And then this book is bouncing back and forth. It doesn't tell you when it transitions, it just transitions. So that's a little annoying for me, just because I have to really pay attention about what time period we're in, So I am not liking that. Okay, so I just moved to another part of the house, but it's very echoey. So aside from that, like, I'm enjoying the storyline, the plot line, especially like the past, because you're getting a lot of that history about what it might have happened during that time, during World War I, and then the onset of World War II. Well, you don't really hear much about World War I, but like World War II, you're starting to hear a lot about, with the, you know, the invasion of the Germans and then the Russians and stuff. And you know, there's some sad moments. There is talk about you know, how people dealt with things, and it doesn't go into detail, but there are mentions of suicide, concentration camps, mentions of you know, the resistance a little bit. That's the past. And then present, Meta, which is really funny, the name to me, but Meta, she is the present day girl, and that storyline I am not liking, just because during that part of the timeline, it talks a lot more about the music, which I do like, but in a sensual way, and that's kind of weird to me. Meta is in a world where she has friends who are just music fanatics. They will argue about composers and their music, and they're very nerdy kind of, and you know, which I don't mind reading about, you know, people who are just so enthralled with music. But the thing that's bugging me is how they're comparing it with like sexual things and sensual things in that way, and so that's annoying. And then already there was 2 sex scenes. I know this is a secular book, but to me, I just don't feel like it needed that. So, especially since this book is 500 pages, hopefully that's like the last of it. But she's, you know, it's usually when Meta is with her boyfriend, and so they live together. So, you know, those are those scenes. So there's nothing in the other timelines. But Meta has met one of the characters that you meet in the past, and she already obtains this section of the manuscript, and so she is looking through it and she's kind of getting a professional opinion about what steps to do next, but her job is going to try to retrieve the other 2 pieces of this manuscript. And so I am very eager to see like what is happening, like what's going to happen. Anyways, that's what I have. And again, I apologize for all the noise that's happening around me. Yes, I'm at 33% in the book, and we are introduced to a new character. He's the bridge between the 2 timelines, I think, because he is a journalist, and his name is Garrett, and he was in Czechoslovakia when they were revolting against the Communist Party, and I think like winning their independence or something. And then, you know, you have Meta, who's in the turn of the century, like that's her timeline. And so they end up meeting. There might be a romance in here. I'm not sure, but it's kind of letting on to that, I feel. And if that's the case, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this book, because first off, Meta, she is still in a relationship, but she's actually annoying me a little bit because of her obsession with this composition. And you have her going over to Prague, and her boyfriend offers to come with her or whatever, but she's like so adamant about doing this on her own and that he doesn't understand. I feel like she is tarnishing her own relationship, and she doesn't want him to be involved in her life, and she keeps staying there in Prague, and like he's taking care of her house, and you know, he's like upkeeping everything, and even offers to come and see her and help her, and she doesn't want any of the help. And I don't know. Again, I'm really invested a lot more with like the other characters who have the documents than I am really with like the present day. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. Tomorrow I'll give you an update. Hopefully I'll be at 50% by then. All right, good morning, book friends. It is the next day, which is Wednesday the 25th. And sorry I didn't come in at the end of the day to give you an update, but I did not reach the 50% mark until early this morning. Last night, it was very busy, but I just got some planters and stuff. We did just kind of walked around the store, so I didn't really have much to film. So let's go ahead and talk about the book. Yeah, I'm in a dilemma right now. So that relationship that I was worried about that was gonna happen actually happened in a way. It's weird because at first Meta does tell Garrett that she is in a relationship, and so Garrett knows, and so I am like, okay, I'm glad she told him. But then something happens, and it's like they're pursuing a relationship now in Prague, and I know her relationship is failing, but I guess that's something that's a trope that I don't like, is a cheating trope. So I'm not enjoying it, and again, we're meeting new people, and it feels like we're having the go around with this mystery, and it's just extra like historical things, which I don't mind, but I don't know, it just feels like it's never ending and ongoing, and I'm finding myself like looking at how much I have left, and I have a little under 10 hours left. I think like 9 something hours, and I am getting a little bored with this book. I'm not enjoying it, and I think I'm just going to DNF this book. And I've tried not to. I am 52%, so I'm not going to try to pick up another book because I feel like I gave this book a really fair shot. With that being said, let's go ahead and see what the next country I'm going to, and that is Switzerland. And Switzerland is, I have a few fun facts about it. So Switzerland is one of the few countries with a square flag. Almost 60% of Switzerland is covered by the Alps. Switzerland is also famous for its chocolate, and milk chocolate was invented there, which milk chocolate was my favorite type of chocolate, but now that I'm getting older, I'm liking a little bit more dark chocolate. So, but chocolate in general is one of my favorite things. Also, I found out that tips are generally not expected in Swiss restaurants. So maybe they're getting paid very well at these restaurants that they don't really need tips or something. I don't know, but that's interesting. And then a final fun fact I wrote down is there are 4 official languages, and those include French, Italian, Roman-ish, or Roman, I think it's pronounced Romanish, and Swiss German. So now let's go ahead and see the book that I'm going to read, and that is Her Mother's Hope by Francine Rivers, and this was actually on my original Goodreads TBR, and this is starting a new series, but it's only a duology. So this is Marta's Legacy duology. And so basically the notes I have here says this book is talking about complicated mother-daughter relationships. You have Marta, who leaves Switzerland and she journeys across Europe and finds herself in California. She's determined to find her own life on her own terms. And then World War II comes around, and I don't know I didn't write down actually if it was Marta or her daughter, but marries and begins a family of her own. So I'm guessing it's Marta's daughter that marries and begins a family of her own, and I guess it's the relationship between these different generations. So I do like a good generation story, and I believe my library has this on as a physical copy, but if I can find the audio, I much rather prefer that, so I can continue moving and listening to audio right now. It's kind of my preferred method. I'm still reading through C.S. Lewis, The Four Loves, so that's really slow going as of now. So an audio would be nicer. But yeah, this is also according to Goodreads, about a 500-page book, but I'm hoping that I'm going to have a better success with this book. So as far as the day goes, I'm going to do that Czech Republic recipe that I found, and this one I'm actually going to do a dessert. It's called coffee cake with sour cream or something like that. It's chocolate and it's sour cream, which in my mind does not go together, so I'm feeling adventurous, and my husband likes anything sweet, and he also thought this sounded interesting. Okay, I will see you guys in a bit.
So these are the 2 planters that I have. I know they're really big, but I'm gonna start these seeds off in one of those little starter kit containers. So I have catnip, which I heard was pretty good with tea, and lavender, but these are gonna go into my backyard, and they're gonna go in here eventually. And I heard that they're very good at repelling mosquitoes. So that's primarily why I have it. But anyways.
Not really distinguishable layers of pudding and cake.
Okay.
Altogether, still pretty good. Still cake.
Oh, there's the pudding. It's on the bottom. Good morning. So today is the 26th. It is Thursday, and I just want to do a quick check-in. This morning I will be going to a dentist appointment, but I just wanted to check in with you guys. I also wanted to insert the clip of the coffee cake that we had. Now, I will say that this was not done properly because the pudding never fully got to the consistency where it needed to be, so it sunk to the bottom of the cake, and it had a gummy texture that was not the best, but the cake itself was good, and the sour cream did added a layer where it was like tart a little bit, but it wasn't like so much. So it wasn't that bad. But my husband actually really liked it, and I was okay with it. But yeah, that just how the layers worked, it wasn't that great. But we were in a rush yesterday because you know, I made everything by hand, even like the pudding part was by hand, and it was a longer process than I thought it was going to be. So with that and choir, we were really cutting it close. We actually were late to choir, but yeah. So anyways, later on, like, we might have another go at it, but it wasn't that bad. And you know, it was nice having it with coffee, and of course we had our eggs too. So we have dentist appointments today. Mine is at 10 and it's right now 9:30, but it's like really close to my house. So I will be going to that, and my husband's is at 2 when he gets out of summer school. It is his last day. So yeah, I will talk to you after the dentist appointment. So I'm back from the dentist. I'm very fortunate that my teeth are really good. So anyways, let me go ahead and just talk to you about the book so far. So I'm reading Her Mother's Hope by Francine Rivers, and so far I am enjoying the story. We follow Marta, and she is the oldest, I think is the oldest of 3 children to this Switzerland couple. And right off the bat, you know that she is getting, she's kind of abused by her father and the family, not only emotionally, but physically abused. He does take things out on her. So there might be some trigger warnings there for those who don't really like to read that in their books. But it's not like super detailed, but there is some mention of it. And Marta is tasked to basically, I mean, everything she does is, you know, displeases her father. Her brother is one who wants to be out in nature and is very adamant about joining the Swiss Army when he's old enough. So he doesn't really care for school, which is unfortunate for Marta, because that is one of the things her father is upset about, is that Marta is good in school, but her brother isn't, and he ends up taking Marta out of school. Her younger sister does the beauty of the family, but she relies a lot on her mother or Marta, and so she's very much like being taken care of, and she doesn't know how to do things for herself. So this serves as a problem later. So Marta, she through a series of events goes to school to be a servant, and you know, you feel for Marta because she wants to go to school, she wants to do well for her life, but her father is insistent that she stays working and learning like the household duties. And so you know, her mom is interesting in that she tells Marta God is in it and he's with her, but at the same time, like, the mother is, I don't know, I just feel like she provides like band-aid answers to the daughter about life. I mean, like, I get it. It's like, you know, God can provide and God can take care of Marta, and to use every instance as an opportunity to grow in something. But at the same time, like, her husband is abusive. So, I don't know. You're rooting for Marta. Let's just say I'm rooting for her. She is right now making her way across Europe, learning new things, meeting new people, and still keeping a correspondence with her mother and her sister. There is later talk about death, and there is talk about rape. There is talk about even a suicide in here. So just letting you know that is in the story, and it's not talked in great detail, but it is mentioned. So there's a lot of like heartbreak at the beginning of this story. So Yeah, right now Marta is in London, and she's just trying to find a way for herself. She's like 16 at this point, so Marta's really young. But yeah, that's basically the gist of the story so far. I am over 2 hours in. This is a 14-hour book, so not that far in, but a lot is happening. And yeah, it's about 11 o'clock, so my husband will be home briefly around 1, and then he has to, eat real quick and then get ready for his dentist appointment. Okay, so I will see you guys in a bit. What do you think?
It's good.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What do you like most about it?
The bread is good, and the filling is good.
I agree. This is really good. Sorry, mine fell apart, but I really enjoyed it, actually. So this is definitely a win. Better than the cake. So we have all of this brush that was from tree cutting. So my husband and I are gonna fill this guy up.
All right, good morning, book friends. It is Friday, June 27th, I believe. And I am going to talk to you a little bit about this book. But beforehand, sorry I didn't come in at night. We ended up going over to my mother's house, and she got some things from Mexico, which she took a trip there, and so she had like some gifts for us, which was very sweet. She usually likes to bring gifts back from her travels. So that was our evening. And then this morning I was helping my husband putting some dead tree branches into this trailer dumpster, but it's still not done yet. But I got really overheated, so I just came inside for a little bit, and I am going to talk to you about the book now. So the book that I'm listening to, I'm about 47%, so not quite 50% yet, but there is a lot happening. And in this portion of the book, we are now getting one of the daughters' point of view in this part of the story. And it's really sad. There are some sad moments in this book. And it's interesting because you want to because you saw how Marta grew, you kind of see what mother she is right now, and some of the things that she has gone through, even through her marriage and everything. And you can't help but feel for her, but then there are some moments where it's just so frustrating because there is like this, almost like a miscommunication, but just how she is raising her children. She really wants them to fight for themselves, really trying to push that on her kids. And one of her daughters is just not her mother, I guess is the best way of saying it. She's a lot like her father and like Marta's sister. And it's interesting just kind of seeing that perspective, but it is sad because it's just you want to root for Marta, but then you also want to root for the daughter. And it's just a complex relationship in a way. And I am actually enjoying the book. It is pretty long, but a lot is happening in this story. So I don't really mind that it is long because you're really getting to know the characters. And I like a good mother-daughter book. And so I can even see certain things that even relate, not like 100%, but like some things that did relate to my life in a way growing up. I'm very curious to see what happens. Right now, Hildy, I'm gonna call her Hildy because I think it's Hildy Rose or something, but she just experienced school and just had some like sad events that happened there. And yeah, last night we did try our omeletines, I think is how you pronounce it. And at first we were a little nervous because the meat looked like a spaghetti, like you know how you have when you make spaghetti, at least how we do it, we do ground beef and we do like a meat sauce over it. And so this looked like a very fixed up, I guess, spaghetti meat sauce combo with veggies, and then we're gonna put it on a crepe, and that's like a fluffy pancake, I guess. And so I wasn't sure what to expect, but it was actually really good. So much better than I feel like the coffee cake that we had made earlier. And I mean, my husband had like seconds, and he even tried it with sour cream, which he said tastes pretty good with it too. So I didn't try it like that, but it was a really nice dish, and that's something I'll probably would try to make. It didn't seem like it didn't take too long. I guess the long part was probably getting the vegetables all cut up and letting them simmer, I guess, but that was like the longest part to me. You could make the batter like the night before, so if it was something that I wanted to make, I could make the batter the day before and then just cut up all the vegetables and the meat and then make the crepes and stuff. So it wasn't like overly difficult, and it was fairly inexpensive actually, except the beef, of course. But yeah, really good recipe, really liked it. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So I will catch you later. Okay, good afternoon, book friends. It is almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, June 28th. And I apologize for not coming in earlier. I didn't want to come in until after I have completed the book, which I have. And I have a lot of thoughts on this book. I'm not sure what I'm going to rate it. If I come up with a rating, I'll put it right here. But I mean, I enjoyed this book, but there was just so much to it, so many emotions. I'm still thinking about it. Just these characters are pretty raw, pretty like down to earth. Like this is not a fluffy read by all means. There's some heartbreak. There is a lot of there's some terminal illness things in this book. There's grief, betrayal, lots of like, I think I even talked about abuse, and there's just a lot in this book. And so I'm really debating how I kind of feel about all of it. I mean, Marta as a character is kind of complex to me, but it's like I see her growth through this book, and there are times where I just want to shake her. There are times I want to grieve with her. There are just times where I wish she wouldn't have this miscommunication with her daughter Hildy, and then you have Hildy who you feel for, but then at the same time you're like, Hildy, you need to stand up, and you need to use your words. You need to let people know how you're feeling. And I guess that's the one thing about it, is that there's not a character in here, I feel, that you are just that's always in the right, I guess. And if mother-daughter books are your thing, I think you would enjoy it. I know I like a good mother-daughter read, as well as like a sibling read, and you kind of see a little bit of that. And so I think I could definitely see some things in the relationship with the mother and the daughter between my own me and my own mother. And then I could see myself as Marta, and I could see myself a little bit like Hildy for certain things. Hildy is definitely a character that I kind of struggle with a little bit sometimes in like contemporary reads or just reads in general, just because she is such a selfless person. And sometimes how their selfless people are written can really seem very like martyrs to me, and that is not always a character trait I enjoy reading about sometimes. But you know, in this story, I really enjoyed seeing Hildy's perspective and like how she grows and things. And so all that to say, I think that this is a book that's gonna stick with me. It's gonna have me think about for some time, and I'm really curious to see what the second book holds. And yeah, there's a lot of faith content in here, and I'm still mulling over some of the content and how you know, Francine Rivers wrote with like the faith aspect. And it's not like it was, I don't know, at first I felt like with some characters and their look on life and how they fit God in their look on life, I struggled a little bit with it just because I felt like it was an incomplete picture. But I think that was what Francine Rivers intended, was to show different characters and how they handled different situations in their faith and how they walked through life and how they chose to walk through life. And there are certain characters in here where I definitely felt like how they walked their walk of faith, and I may or may not have agreed with some of the choices they made, but you could still learn a little from it, and it does impact other characters down the line and how they chose to walk their own faith. And yeah, it's just, it wasn't wrapped up pretty in a bow. It was complicated and messy, but it worked. And yeah, that is all I have to say, and I hope that you enjoyed hearing some thoughts about these books, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye.